afternoon, everyone, with a new episode in العقارية. Today we are covering SBE16 Cairo Conference in its second day, and we are going to do interviews with different speakers. So stay with us.
Before we get started with this interesting topic, actually, because it's some way mysterious biophilia, before we get started with it, I'd like to borrow a quote from Albert Einstein, who once said and maybe predicted, I fear the day when technology shall surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. I'm not sure if this was just a quote or a prophecy. Do you agree with me? Can it be sort of a prophecy? Maybe? Okay. To get started, I'll start in a different way somehow. Away from being an associate professor, I'm a mother, and actually a worried mother. Nowadays, when I ask my children, where shall we go on a vacation or on a weekend? The answer is, go to the big shopping mall up there. So what about nature? What about going on a picnic? They just say, no, we want to go to the mall. What about going in the fresh air? They just reply, no, air conditioning is better. And when I want to go to the beach, they just mention, no, mom, pool is cool. Does this happen with you, in your families, with the young generation coming up? I believe the answer mostly is yes. So I went back in the past. What do we have as children as an entertainment? By the way, the word entertainment actually goes to in renovating our soul and reconnecting with nature. This is what we had when we were children. We liked most to go to the beach, swim, make sort of sand castles, even collect shells. What about nowadays children? Most of them are actually connected to technology, playing with the Xbox, virtual reality, games. Do you agree with this?
Implemented all the adaptive climatic consideration, like wind towers, Ashabayas, positive and negative pressure from different courtyards, and so forth. And they did the environmental aspects analysis for these buildings, and we choose a contemporary building that utilizes these aspects in it. At the end, we choose a real site, that they did a site analysis for a real site using climate consultant as Dr. Mohammed Anis is specialized in climate consultant issues, so he was the tutor for them. Then began the design phase. These are some samples of the students' environmental studies. The first one was the analysis, and then the sample. These are advanced samples of their studies at this level of their design course.
And now we have Dr. Cornelia, GC Architecture and Urban Design. Hi, Dr. Cornelia.
Hi.
I want to ask you first your opinion about the SBE conference.
Well, we as GUC are co-organizers, and it's the second time actually we're doing this conference. And I think it's great that the E was added, so it's not just sustainable building, but sustainable building and environment, which somehow enlarges the scale. And yeah, I think it's a really important event, and it always brings together very different people with very different opinions, and that's always good.
And the main aim is connections and networking between people, of course.
The aim is, of course, to connect and network and see what other people in the field are working on. And yeah, it's an opportunity to meet, of course.
So what's the main or key topics you have discussed today in the conference?
Well, it was quite a spectrum. We started with mega cities and new city foundations, which of course with the new capital project is a huge topic in Egypt, a hot topic. And on the other end, I, for example, presented solid waste management strategies for Gezirat al-Dahab as part of the Nile Islands initiative. That's my personal field of work and what I showed today, but I think the spectrum in Cairo is always very challenging because you have everything from the new urban foundations, new urban communities, to questions of informality. And it's very hard to separate them, but of course also that makes it very broad.
So, how do you think you could resolve that problem of Nile River and the solid waste management?
Well, I think it's most of all an awareness building process, and this is where I think in Egypt there's still a lot to be done. People just don't have that environmental conscience, and that's something that I think, protecting the environment will only work if everybody participates. So there's a lot we can do as individuals, but then of course you also need proper infrastructure. So that's something we can all contribute to somehow, and often when things are not perfectly organized or not in place, it might take an extra effort, but that can also contribute to a better environment, to more livelihood, and I think that's something everybody can profit from.
Of course. So how do you see the future of urbanization in Egypt?
That's quite a challenging question. I mean, Egypt is one of the countries, especially the Nile Delta, most vulnerable to climate change. So there will probably be some severe migration processes, issues of desertification, mass urbanization. As I already said, a lacking environmental awareness. If we look at energy efficiency in buildings, we can see that that is just not part of the program as of yet. Although there are building codes and building regulations in place, but in practice we see that it's not being implemented. So everybody needs to understand that that's not something we choose, but it's something we have to do if we want to continue living on this planet. And I think this urgency needs to become clear to everybody involved. And especially for Egypt, the argument is always, oh, we need to develop first, we need to grow first, and then we can look into issues of sustainability. But I think the argumentation should be different, because sustainability and environmental awareness is something that needs to be included now.
Could you tell us an experiment in the Nile River for the waste management?
Sorry, I didn't.
Any experiment you have already tried it in the Nile River?
Well, we're working on Gezirat el-Dahab as a case study because it's one of the protectorates, one of the 3 protectorates here in Egypt, but it's also threatened by environmental degradation because it is being urbanized, and there's no solid waste management in place at the moment. So under our umbrella of designing cycles, where we're also studying the possibility of small-scale constructed wetland applications on the household scale, because the land now is actually too expensive to install larger communal systems. We did a test run for solid waste management, where we asked people to collect the garbage, and then in collaboration with the Zabalin, with the Spirit of Youth organization, and the villagers, and the ferry operators, and different student organizations who volunteered for a weekend, did a sort of test run, which served as a basis for different models that we will then present to the inhabitants.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Typical kind of energy analysis will start with something called a box model, which is a very simple model that we kind of situate and simulate. And what we found that consistently, when we use box models in our design, we end up with that discrepancy. The energy used that we predicted was much lower than what is achieved. So we didn't want to kind of follow that prescriptive method when we were doing this research. We wanted to actually do actual prototypes of schools, that we analyze them at the very early on and kind of develop some prescriptive guidelines for the application. So we kind of looked at elementary schools, and we kind of classified them into 6 prototypes of schools. This is kind of an example of these prototypes. And then we ran a number of simulations in different climate zones to kind of predict what if you do when you do just envelope the high performance envelopes, meaning that you just kind of get an envelope with proper insulation, with proper window to wall ratio, with proper window glazing specifications. And we find that if you just do these simple things, you can reduce the energy used by around 40%. And then when you kind of start to do more sophisticated daylighting system analysis, top lighting and side lighting, light shelves, natural ventilation, all these kind of additional analysis, you can reach up to 75%, between 60 and 75%. So the goal here is to kind of get that very early prescriptive model to be implemented at the early design stage, and when in the later design stage, you can actually build up and do the more sophisticated energy model that will get you into that range of 60%.
دلوقتي بنتشرف بدكتور وفاء نديم the assistant professor at the German University in Cairo. هاي.
اهلا وسهلا بيك وتشرفتوني.
اتشرفت بيكي اكتر. كنت حابه في الاول اعرف طبعا سبب رعايه او تنظيم الجامعه الالمانيه لهذا المؤتمر.
والله هو الجامعة الألمانية بتهتم باستدامة المباني. احنا القسم عمارة والتصميم العمراني هدفنا طبعا المباني المستدامة. فجت الفكرة ان احنا ازاي نقدر نجمع ما بين البحث العلمي والصناعة. فالمؤتمر ده مؤتمر دولي بيتم تنظيمه كل 3 سنين، واحنا بنتقدم لجهات دوليه بنطلب فيها تنظيم المؤتمر، وبنوري احنا ايه زي ما بيقولوا ايه الاكسبيرينس بتاعتنا في تنظيم مؤتمرات. فاحنا قدمنا سابقه اللي هي البري كواليفيكيشن، يعني قدمناها وقلنا ان احنا بنقدر ننظم المؤتمرات دي، وان احنا بنعمل مشاريع قوميه كبيره في مصر، وده الوقت المناسب لان احنا نفكر في استدامه المباني بتاعتنا، وخصوصا ان احنا دلوقتي مشاكلنا كلها عباره عن كهرباء وميه. فلازم البيئه المبنيه بتاعتنا تبقى يعني نقدر نستخدمها باسلوب يقلل من استهلاك الموارد الموجوده عندنا.
ده السبب الاساسي او الهدف الاساسي من اقامه هذا المؤتمر اكيد.
تمام.
طيب كنت حابه اعرف برضو هو المؤتمر ده مش اول مره ليه، كان في SBE في 2013، فكنت حابه اعرف ايه المميز او المختلف المؤتمر ده عن اللي فات.
تمام. هو انا اشتركت في المؤتمر SBE11 اللي هو كان في سنه 2011، وده كان مؤتمر عالمي اتعمل في هلسنكي. فانا قابلت المنظمين المؤتمر، وكان المنسق بتاع المؤتمرات دي قال طب احنا معظم المؤتمرات بتتم في اوروبا، طب احنا عايزين منطقه الشرق الاوسط. تمام. فهم يعني طرحت الفكره ان احنا ننظم مؤتمر في القاهره. تمام. وكانت الوقت ده في 2013، وكانت طبعا الظروف ساعتها يعني challenging. تمام. فقلنا طب ليه لا، يعني خلينا احنا دلوقتي بنتكلم ان احنا عايزين مباني مستدامه، ودي الفرصه ان احنا هنبني البلد، فالمؤتمر ساعتها هيبقى مناسب جدا للوقت ده. بس كان هدف المؤتمر ساعتها ان احنا نحدد ايه اولويات التحديات بتاعتنا. تمام. فكان هو ده الهدف الاساسي، ان احنا نحدد اولوياتنا والمصاعب اللي ممكن تواجهنا في التنميه المستقبليه. تمام. بعد 3 سنين دلوقتي زي ما قلت المؤتمر بيتم كل 3 سنين، فالهدف دلوقتي ان احنا قلنا طيب احنا عرفنا مشاكلنا، والمشاكل دي متاحه، يعني عملنا ريبورت وهو متاح على الانترنت، فنقدر يعني تم توصيف المشاكل والتحديات والتوقعات ان احنا ازاي نقدر نحلها. طيب السؤال دلوقتي هنحلها ازاي؟ فاحنا مش هنقدر نحلها كل واحد في مجاله، لازم يحصل تكامل ما بين الجهات المختلفه والمؤسسات المختلفه، وناخد التكنولوجيا في الاعتبار، لان التكنولوجيا دايما بتتطور سريعا يعني. فكان هدف المؤتمر ده ان احنا اوكي علشان نقدر نمشي خطوه لقدام لازم تو انتجريت، لازم نتكامل. فهو ده السبب يعني الاساسي ان احنا قلنا يبقى خطوه لقدام يعني.
أنا اتشرفت بحضرتك دكتورة وفاء، ميرسي جدا. ميرسي.
Information or lack of information, you don't know about it. You don't know about the finance, about lots of things. So he considered this is not sustainable or so. As I said, if we're talking about the finance for these projects is coming mainly at the beginning from the government for the infrastructure to start up this kind of projects. After that, all the private sector will be in for all the projects like all kind of real estate project, whether it's commercial, administrative, whether it's the same like any new city we have before, like New Cairo, like 6th of October. All these cities didn't built by the government alone. It's the private sector have the biggest share in this kind. And I said in my presentation that the first package for the lands will be available in the coming quarter for the investor to start work with us. And after that, we have another package. Concerning the questions about the work, about if there's a place the people living there will want to have a work. Sure, we are looking for that. We have an industrial zone, a clean industrial zone, what we call the high-tech industrial zone for the high-tech this. And also, if you, as I said, the location for the city capital is unique. It's just only 40 to 50 kilometers from Suez Canal and Sokhna. We have an economic zone there. We have another economic zone all over this. But we don't going to have what we call a heavy industry in this area, because all around this area we have 10th of Ramadan, Al-Abur, all this is a pure industry cities. But all what we have in this area for industry is just a clean industry, and also there's lots of work for in the commercial areas, in the administrative buildings, all this kind of work. And this, as I said, we are talking about the first phase. I think in the future, maybe this master plan is not the final. It will be updated every 5 years or so. So we'll see at that time what we can do. For summer.
دلوقتي بنتشرف بالمهندس خالد صديق مدير صندوق تطوير المناطق العشوائية. أهلا بحضرتك.
أهلا بحضرتك. أهلا.
طبعا حابة في الأول أعرف رأيك في مؤتمر SBE.
أعتقد المؤتمر ناجح جدا جدا. المؤتمرات اللي أنا حضرتها طبعا في الفترة اللي فاتت دي ناجح جدا. يعني مش عارف أقيمه إن هو فوق الناجح شوية كمان.
طيب حضرتك طبعا الموضوع الأهم كنت بتتكلم عن المناطق العشوائية. كنت حابة أعرف إزاي نقدر نصنف المناطق الآمنة من المناطق الغير آمنة.
لا، هو المناطق الآمنة متصنفة معروف إنها غير الآمنة على الإنسان دي اللي هي بتهدد حياته، لأنها ليها 4 درجات. فلو اتحققت درجة من الدرجات ال4 يبقى غير آمنة، زي مثلا زي صخرة الدويقة لما وقعت على الناس دي غير آمنة على حياة الإنسان. ساكن في بيت مش ملائم، سقف صاج، سقف خشب، بيت بالطوب الني أو طوب ناتج الهدم بتاع حاجات أخرى، ده اللي هو غير ملائم ليه، هو مش خطر عليه بس غير ملائم ليه. الدرجة الثالثة يكون ساكن تحت أو قائم يعني مقيم تحت خط ضغط عالي أو ضغط متوسط أو منخفض واتيفر، بيكون ساكن في مكان المجاري حواليه، الميه غرقان في ميه، ده اللي هو على الصحه، او في مكان ملوث صناعيا، منطقه صناعيه ملوثه، دي الدرجه الثالثه. الدرجه الرابعه اللي هو ساكن في مكان او باني بيته في ارض مش ارضه، بيت مش بيته، يبقى دي الدرجه الثالثه الرابعه اللي هي فاقد الحيازه. دول 4 درجات بنقدر نقول هم اللي توفرت في حاجه من ال4 دول، يبقى ده غير امن. الغير مخطط اللي هو بقى بني ادم عايش بيت كويس، زي مثلا منطقه الهجانه، كيلو 4.5. معظم مناطق مصر حوالي 40% من مدن مصر ساكن في بيت ممكن 14 دور، لكن الشارع 6 متر، الصرف الصحي والكهرباء والميه مش ليجل او ما عملش تراخيص، بنى البيت مش على تخطيط، مش في شارع صح، يعني مش حاجه مخططه، يعني خرج بره التنظيم والتخطيط وبنى البيت، بس هو امن على حياته، لكن ده باسمها غير مخططه.
طب هل بقى في خطط او استراتيجيات لتطوير هذه الاماكن؟
طبعا احنا دلوقتي عايشين في الخطه الاولانيه اللي هي العاجله، اللي هي السنتين الاولانيين اللي احنا بنقضي فيهم على 351 المنطقه اللي هي غير امنه، اللي هو ب4 درجاتها. فدي الخطه الاولانيه. الخطه الثانيه اللي هي المتوسط المدى اللي هي الغير مخططه. فدي احنا دلوقتي عايشين في الخطه الاولانيه.
طب المدى الزمني بتاعها ممكن يخلص كمان قد ايه؟
احنا سنتين، الاولانيه دي سنتين.
طب هل في اي تحديات او مشاكل بتواجه الحكومه في هذه المناطق؟
اكيد طبعا، ما فيش مشكله من غير تحديات. احنا التحدي الاول اللي هو ايجاد نقدر نقول اللي هو الفاينل، اللي هو المالي، الصندوق المالي اللي هو يقدر نصرف بيه على الموضوع اللي احنا المطلوب عندنا عشان نخلص على الخطه الاولانيه 15 مليار جنيه. فده رقم مش قليل بالنسبه لدوله لسه بتنهض. ده التحدي الاول. التحدي الثاني ازاي نقنع المواطن احنا بننقلك عشان خاطر مصلحتك، مش عشان خاطر احنا بنقول احنا عايزين منك حاجه. ده التحدي الاكبر كمان اللي بعتبره كمان اكتر من ايجاد الفند.
لازم يكون في توعية برضو للناس، لأن هم ممكن بعد ما ينشأ أماكن جديدة يبقى في برضو يعملوا نفس الحاجات اللي كانوا بيعملوها قبل كده.
ده من ضمن 4 محاور اللي شغال عليهم. انا شغال 4 محاور زي ما قلت كده في البرزنتيشن بتاعي، ان مش سكن بس، لا محاور تانية منها الحاجه النفسيه الاجتماعيه الاقتصاديه. بحاول اقنعه وبحاول ان انا اجد له فيها حاجات ان هو يعني انقله في المكان يعيش فيه كمأوى ويشتغل فيه ويقتنع نفسيا ان هو باسرته عايش امن.
أنا اتشرفت بحضرتك، ميرسي جدا، شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا جزيلا. شكرا.
And now we have Professor Nuno Ijel, the Professor of New Infrastructure Development at Manchester Business School. Hi.
Hi, hello. Thanks very much.
Nice to meet you. First of all, I want to know your opinion about the conference.
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic opportunity. You know, I like this type of conferences that bring academics together with practitioners to debate topical issues. And it was heartening to see government officials side by side with people like me, that I'm an academic in the UK, with local academics from the German university in Cairo. So I think it's really the right setup when we can bring people that are very different from each other for a day to think and debate issues of that we all shared.
I want you to introduce for us the new mega projects.
Yeah, so I'm a professor of new infrastructure development, and mega projects is a term that we use to designate the organizations that you need to set up to deliver large-scale, capital-intensive infrastructure. So mega projects basically are mega project organizations. So these are organizations that are different from corporations, different from government departments, in the sense that they need to unify under a system goal very multiple actors that are very heterogeneous, that have different interests, different objectives, they have different knowledge bases, they have different beliefs, different ideologies sometimes, but nonetheless, unless we are able to work all together and to carry them along, we will never be able to successfully deliver this capital-intensive infrastructure asset, whether it is a national railway, a network of highways, a power station, a utility plant, or a mega city, or a new mega city like the ones that were presented here today, the one in the coastal areas and New Cairo.
So what about the fundamental problems, and does the private businessman face that problem as well?
So the challenge is to sustain the momentum, to keep people together throughout a long period of time, given that these actors are very different from each other, and so it's how to create, ultimately the big challenge in any mega project is how to fold individual value creation and appropriation into collective value creation and appropriation, because everyone in the system will be asking, what's in it for me? And you have to address that question in order to prevent these people from becoming opponents to your goal, or to threaten to defect the organization unless you give them concessions that you are not able to afford. So there's, on one hand, the problem is a problem of integrating effort across organizational boundaries. Part of the problem is resolved through coordination, which is what technical people are very good at. So when we see in the conference people producing individual reports, strategic plans, documents with their ambitions, with their plans, and sharing those documents, providing those documents to each other, they are basically trying to coordinate their needs and interests in order to move from a broad space of solutions into a short list of options. The problem is that once we have this short list of options, we are going to encounter difficult trade-offs. And those trade-offs cannot be resolved by rationalistic criteria. It's not necessarily one option is better than the other. They all have advantages and disadvantages. And at that point, we need a lot of cooperation between the leaders of the different organizations to work out compromises, figure out mutually consensual solutions, and also negotiate, bargain. And the Middle East is, well, invented bargaining, and we need bargaining at this point in a healthy way in order to overcome the obstacles that we are going to encounter.
We are a part of this universe. We are connected to it. This is a scientific fact, which is very visible when you break it down into the atomic level. But from our view, from the eye level, sometimes it's become kind of hard to see this serious interconnected system for a lot of people. How can we be connected to a dog, or to a waterfall, or to a flowers we see on the ground? What is this inherent connection that connects us to everything around us? It's biophilia. Biophilia is the individual innate desire to converge with nature, to be a part of nature, to incorporate it into their daily life. And today we are here to discuss the impact of integrating this biophilic world into the architectural terms. As mentioned before, biophilia is two words. The first, bio, is mean life, and philia is more or less the opposite of phobia or phobic. It means to like or to have a tendency towards something. So briefly, biophilia can be translated to love life. In terms of architecture, we incorporate nature into the built environment through what is called biophilic design. Biophilic design basically is about how can daylight, greenery, and any sensory interaction with the natural world can boost mental acuity, promote health and wellness, and ultimately strengthen the human bond.
Okay. The research, as I said, this is phase one of the research. So we just tackled three different research methods. First, literature review from outdoor. It's the experiments from other countries, which is mostly applied in developed countries, where they value children as an asset, okay, more than us. In Egypt, this is the next phase, because we are collecting now sample of kindergartens who are actually applying this sort of biophilic design in them. They are creating some natural scenes inside the kindergartens, but as you know, this needs a large area, and people who will pay for such kindergartens are very wealthy. Regarding the photos, you know that when we are preparing the presentation, we are trying to get the most high-resolution photos that will express the idea. They are not applied in Egypt, of course, and as I said again, I reiterate that in the next phase, it will be case studies analysis. This was just example analysis from outdoor. So we'll go there and pick some true photos from what's happening.
And now we are pleased to have Dr. Layla Khudir, Associate Professor of Architecture at BUE and Ain Shams University. Hi. Hello.
Hi. How are you, Donia? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. First of all, we want to ask your opinion about the conference.
Actually, it's a well-organized conference full of interesting topics related to either sustainability or the future vision of Egypt and the new capital. It's actually a very fruitful and beneficial conference.
I want to know the main topics you have discussed in this conference today.
Okay, since the introductory plenary sessions, we have two plenary sessions. One was mainly concerned with introducing the project of the new capital. This is in the new extension of Cairo, where we had a lot of interesting details about the ideas, the concepts, the plans of the new capital. We had a very fruitful discussion and we knew a lot about it. Even we heard some criticism about the project, and this was also answered through the session. Then we have a session on sustainable development in general, where we got again some debates about what is sustainable development and topics related to it.
Okay, you have discussed biophilia, or mainly the biophilic design. So could you briefly discuss it with us now?
Yes, this is the topic of my paper. It's a coordinated paper. I presented it with one of my students, Inja Habib. We presented an emerging concept called biophilia, which is an old Latin word consisting of two syllables, bio, which means nature and life, and philia, which means love or passion. So we are trying to introduce this concept as an emerging concept that should be incorporated in sustainability. Sustainability mainly deals with three pillars: economical, physical, and social. Maybe biophilia could be considered part of the social pillar, but it actually extends more. It covers a lot of other details It's a term that is sort of an umbrella term that encompasses a lot of different definitions, but mainly it's concerned with reconnecting with nature.
The slogan was "Love your life," right?
Yes, love life in general, love nature. I was talking with the audience that I'm a mother at the beginning, and being a mother, I'm a little bit worried about my kids who are now distracted. They do not connect with nature in any way. They prefer air conditioning instead of fresh air. So they say that a worried mother searches better than the FBI. So this is where it all begins.
You have started a new workshops.
Yes, in the British University in Egypt, I'm the principal investigator of a research project, 2 years, funded by the YIRG, the Young Investigator Research Grant at the BUE. The project is 2 years, as I said, duration, and its main objective is to embed sustainability and, of course, biophilia in the mindset of children, in the mindset of students, so that we can bring up a generation that is really caring about the nature and can apply environmental policies that we are targeting in our youth.
So it was a pleasure meeting you today, Dr. Layla. Thank you so much.
Me too. Thank you, Dania. Okay.
And finally, SBE16 Cairo Conference second day have come to an end. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Stay with us with another episode in العقارية.